Mayon Volcano is signaling a mega eruption. 3,500 people have been evacuated as pyroclastic hell begins. And what is happening right now on the Philippines' most dangerous volcano could trigger a catastrophe that makes previous eruptions look like gentle fireworks. Picture the world's most perfectly shaped volcano suddenly turning into a geological monster, spewing 100 pyroclastic flows in just 24 hours. Supersonic avalanches of 1,000-degree gas and rock racing down the mountainside at over 100 kilometers per hour. We are talking about a mountain that has been quiet for years now, unleashing the same deadly fury that buried entire cities in the past. But here is what has volcanologists in complete panic. Mayon is not just erupting, it is showing the exact same warning signs that appeared before its most catastrophic explosions in history. The lava dome at the summit is collapsing faster than ever recorded, creating an unstoppable chain reaction of pyroclastic flows that are getting bigger and more violent with each passing hour. The most terrifying discovery came from comparing current activity with Mayon's deadliest eruption patterns. Scientists are detecting the same seismic signatures, the same dome inflation, and the same escalating pyroclastic activity that preceded disasters that killed thousands and reshaped entire regions. Is Mayon's pyroclastic hell just the beginning of a mega eruption that could devastate the Philippines? Or are we watching the countdown to a volcanic catastrophe that could affect the entire Pacific Ring of Fire? Mount Mayon rises 2,462 meters above the northeastern Philippines, its silhouette forming that iconic shape every child draws when imagining what a volcano should look like, standing roughly 8,000 feet tall in Albay province. This geological masterpiece appears almost too perfect to be real. The symmetrical cone attracts hundreds of thousands of tourists each year, drawn to photograph one of nature's most flawless geometric formations. But do not be fooled by the beauty. This stunning symmetry is not a gift from nature. It is a warning written in stone and lava. Mount Mayon holds the terrifying distinction of being the most active volcano in the Philippines, with 54 recorded eruptions documented since 1616. That is more than 400 years of documented violence, averaging one major eruption roughly every 7 years. The pattern is relentless and consistent. Over the centuries, Mayon has demonstrated again and again that its perfect shape comes from continuous cycles of destruction and reconstruction. Each eruption adds layers, while steep slopes shed debris in catastrophic flows. The volcano's near-perfect cone actually creates the conditions for its deadliest behavior. Those steep, symmetrical slopes that make Mayon so photogenic also accelerate pyroclastic flows to devastating velocities. When thick, pasty lava emerges from the summit, it does not flow smoothly downward like water. Instead, it accumulates at the top, building unstable domes that inevitably collapse. When collapse happens on slopes this steep, debris accelerates rapidly, transforming into superheated avalanches that race downward at speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. This is now the second time in less than 2 years that Mayon has forced authorities into crisis response mode. On January 6, 2026, at exactly 1:20 p.m. local time, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology raised the volcano's alert status to level 3. That classification carries a specific, chilling meaning that every Filipino recognizes immediately. Alert level 3 indicates a high probability of hazardous eruption. The perfect cone is showing its teeth again. At Mayon's summit right now, a lava dome is growing. Think with me for a second. When extremely thick, almost pasty lava emerges from a volcano, it behaves nothing like the flowing rivers of molten rock we see in typical eruptions. This viscous material accumulates at the top, piling higher and higher, forming what scientists describe as a cap or plug. But this cap is catastrophically unstable. As it grows, gravity pulls at every ton of material stacked precariously at the summit. When sections inevitably give way, The resulting collapse generates pyroclastic density currents. These flows, known locally as buhos, are essentially supersonic avalanches of death. Picture a mixture of superheated gas, volcanic ash, and rock fragments racing down the mountainside at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius and speeds surpassing 100 kilometers per hour. If you are caught in their path, escape is impossible. The heat alone kills before the physical impact arrives. The numbers coming from Mayon are genuinely alarming. Scientists recorded 100 pyroclastic density currents in the last 24 hours alone. Since January 1st, 2026, monitoring stations have documented 346 rockfall events and 4 volcanic earthquakes. Now compare this acceleration with previous activity. During November and December 2025 combined, instruments recorded 599 rockfalls total. Do you see the pattern emerging? In less than 1 week of January, Mayon produced more than half the activity observed during the previous 2 months. This represents a brutal escalation. Dr. Teresito Bacolcol, director of the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, explained that individual rockfall events lasted between 1 and 5 minutes each, transporting lava debris up to 1 kilometer down the volcano's slopes, concentrated specifically on the upper southern sections. These rockfalls are incandescent. The rocks tumbling down Mayon's flanks glow red-orange through the darkness, visible from kilometers away. This is not cold material falling under normal gravitational influence. This is freshly expelled volcanic matter still radiating heat from the mountain's interior, maintaining temperatures that can melt steel. Tuesday, January 6th at 12:26 p.m. marked the breaking point. That is when pyroclastic density currents began generating from the collapse of newly expelled lava, descending specifically through the channel known as Bonga Gully on the volcano's southeast side. This event lasted approximately 3 minutes, but those 3 minutes transported volcanic debris up to 2 kilometers from the summit crater. This is when everything changed from monitoring concern to active crisis. The following evening provided visual confirmation of what instruments had been detecting. On Tuesday, January 7th, between 6:36 p.m. and 7 p.m., cameras operated by the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology captured images of crater glow. The footage showed the incandescent lava dome clearly visible at Mayon summit, with freshly deposited material still radiating heat in the darkness. You could see the volcano's power illuminated against the night sky, glowing red-orange like a warning beacon visible for dozens of kilometers. But here is what has scientists in complete panic. The 24-hour period between 0 hour on January 8th and 0 hour on January 9th produced numbers that shocked even veteran volcanologists who have monitored Mayon for decades. These records include 72 rockfall events, 100 pyroclastic density currents, and 2 volcanic earthquakes. That level of pyroclastic activity in a single day represents an intensity rarely documented at any volcano on Earth. Dr. Maria Antonia Bornas, chief of the Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division, assessed the situation during a press conference on Tuesday. She explained the most likely scenario now mirrors what happened in 2023, when Mayon remained at alert level 3 for 6 full months. The volcano maintained elevated activity continuously throughout that period, forcing extended evacuations and sustained emergency response. But there is a critical difference this time that separates 2026 from the 2023 precedent: ground deformation. Continuous GPS data, electronic tilt meters, and electronic distance measurements all confirm that the volcano's edifice, its entire physical structure, has been inflating since June 2024. The deformation concentrates especially in the eastern and southeastern sectors. This means magma pressure is actively pushing upward from deep chambers below. The mountain is not just erupting surface material. It is being inflated from within by forces building beneath the surface. If the slow extrusion of the lava dome and short lava flows continue at current rates, Alert Level 3 may persist for several months, just as occurred in 2023. But unlike 2023, this time, the internal pressure shows no signs of decreasing. Sulfur dioxide emissions provide critical insight into what is happening beneath Mayon's surface. On January 8th, instruments measured 195 tons per day, escaping from the volcano's vents and crater. Although these numbers remain at baseline levels, not excessively elevated, they confirm the volcano is continuously degassing. This steady release of sulfur dioxide indicates active magma circulation within the volcanic system, bringing fresh molten rock closer to the surface with each passing day. The volcanic plume rising from Mayon's summit reached heights up to 1,000 meters, roughly 3,000 feet, drifting west-southwest across the surrounding landscape. This visible column of gas and ash serves as a constant reminder that the mountain is actively expelling material into the atmosphere. Then came the first direct civilian impact. On the afternoon of January 8th at 5:56 p.m., authorities confirmed traces of ash falling in Barangay Busay and Daraga. Light ash deposits were reported in Barangay San Francisco and Barangay Travesia in Guinobatan. Additional affected areas are still being verified as reports continue arriving from surrounding communities. Ashfall represents the moment volcanic activity transitions from monitored data points to tangible reality, coating homes, farms, and water sources. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology maintains around-the-clock, 7 days a week, surveillance through an extensive monitoring network. Live video transmission feeds directly to agency headquarters. Seismic instruments track every tremor. GPS networks measure ground movement at millimeter-level precision. Electronic tilt meters detect the slightest changes in slope angles. Thermal cameras capture heat signatures invisible to human eyes. Gas measurement stations continuously sample atmospheric composition. This represents one of the most sophisticated volcanic monitoring systems operating anywhere on Earth. Yet despite this unprecedented technological arsenal, predicting the exact moment of catastrophic dome collapse remains extraordinarily difficult. Unlike gradual processes that provide days or weeks of warning, dome collapses can occur suddenly with minimal advance indication. Scientists can track patterns and recognize dangerous trends, but they cannot pinpoint the precise instant when accumulated stress will exceed the threshold fractured rock can withstand. The volcano keeps its own timeline. Monitoring provides crucial data, but nature still moves faster than human response systems can react. On January 7, Governor Noel Rosal announced the human cost of Mayon's escalating activity. A total of 2,889 people, representing 729 families, had already been evacuated from their homes. These evacuations began at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on January 6, targeting residents from 3 villages located within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone surrounding the volcano's crater. But the displacement extended beyond mandatory orders. An additional 600 people from 39 families left voluntarily, even though they lived outside the designated danger zone, seeking safety in emergency shelters or staying with friends and relatives. In total, as of 6 o'clock in the morning on January 7, exactly 3,476 people from 952 families had been displaced according to reports from the Disaster Response Operations Monitoring and Information Center. The evacuations concentrated mainly in 6 communities. Tabaco City saw 1,181 people flee their homes. Malilipot recorded 1,193 evacuees. Then came Kamalig, Legazpi, Guinobatan, and Daraga. Military troops, police forces, and disaster mitigation teams coordinated the massive movement, helping families reach 13 government-administered evacuation shelters established across the region. You might be wondering why thousands of people choose to live so close to such obvious danger. The reality is complicated and cruel. These are not tourists or temporary residents. These are families who have built entire lives, established farms, and created businesses on Mayon's slopes across multiple generations. The volcanic soil produces some of the most fertile agricultural land in the Philippines. Economic survival and volcanic risk occupy the same geographic space, forcing impossible choices on communities that cannot simply relocate. Governor Rosal assured that relief supplies and basic necessities for evacuees can be sustained even if evacuations last months. A well-established coordination network connects local government units, provincial authorities, and national agencies, including the Department of Social Welfare and Development and the Department of Public Works and Highways. Contingency measures include Bureau of Fire Protection deployment, large water container installations, and sanitary facility setup. All school classes have been suspended in affected areas. Entry into the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone is strictly prohibited, with warnings against unsupervised access to extended danger zones as well. The current situation involves partial dome collapses, generating 100 pyroclastic density currents per day. But the worst-case scenario involves complete dome failure in a single catastrophic event. Warning time could be 0. If a massive section of the lava dome gives way suddenly, a pyroclastic density current would form instantly. Temperatures would exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. The mixture of superheated gas, ash, and rock would accelerate down Mayon's steep slopes at speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour, following established channels such as Bonga Gully. Anyone within 6 kilometers would have no time to react. Within the first 5 minutes, pyroclastic flows would reach 2 to 3 kilometers from the summit. Everything in their path would be incinerated instantly. Buildings offer no protection against flows this hot and fast. Vehicles cannot outrun them. The temperature kills before physical impact arrives. Ashfall would begin blanketing wider areas immediately. Between 5 and 15 minutes, pyroclastic flows would reach lower elevations. The ash column could potentially rise 5 to 10 kilometers into the atmosphere, affecting aviation across the region. If rain coincides with the eruption, secondary lahars, volcanic mudflows, would transform river valleys into deadly channels carrying debris downstream at tremendous velocity. During the first 6 hours, massive ashfall would blanket Albay province across dozens of kilometers. Agricultural devastation would be immediate and total. Water sources would become contaminated. Infrastructure would buckle under accumulated ash weight. Power grids would fail from ash interference. Road networks would become impassable. The 6-kilometer permanent danger zone exists for documented historical reasons. In 1814, a major Mayon eruption buried the entire town of Cagsawa, killing approximately 1,200 people. The church ruins remain visible today, standing as a memorial to that catastrophe. Current evacuation boundaries mirror the footprint of past disasters, but longer-term threats extend beyond the immediate eruption. Lahars continue for months during the rainy season as accumulated volcanic debris mobilizes with each storm. Communities located downstream from Mayon face sustained risk long after initial volcanic activity subsides. The critical difference between 1814 and 2026 is monitoring capability. 2 centuries ago, no warning system existed. Today, 24-hour surveillance operates continuously, but science can track volcanic behavior without being able to stop it. Nature still moves faster than human systems can respond. Mount Mayon presents an impossible paradox. The world's most perfectly shaped volcano generates millions in tourism revenue annually. The fertile volcanic soil produces agricultural yields unmatched anywhere else in the region. Yet this same mountain threatens to kill thousands with minimal warning. The economic reality and the geological threat occupy identical geographic coordinates. Thousands of people depend directly on Mayon's slopes for survival. Farmers cultivate crops in soil enriched by centuries of volcanic ash deposits. Tourism operators guide visitors who come specifically to photograph the perfect cone. Regional identity and cultural heritage intertwine inseparably with the volcano's presence. Permanent relocation would destroy livelihoods built across multiple generations. This is home, not just geography. Communities have developed preparation cultures from living under constant threat. Previous evacuation drills ensure residents know protocols. Regular educational programs from the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology teach warning signs. Emergency supplies remain prepositioned. Designated evacuation routes are established and maintained. Shelter systems stay ready for immediate activation. Monitoring technology improves yearly, with multi-parameter surveillance providing data previous generations never possessed. International collaboration strengthens volcanic monitoring capabilities continuously. The promise of science offers some measure of protection that did not exist during historical eruptions. The uncomfortable truth creates sustained tension. Alert Level 3 could persist for months, as demonstrated during 2023. Communities face indefinite waiting periods. Economic pressure to return before conditions become safe intensifies with each passing week. Extended evacuations generate fatigue. Children miss school. Businesses remain shuttered. Farms go unattended. The historical pattern repeats across generations. Mayon erupts. People evacuate. Activity eventually subsides. Communities return. Life rebuilds during quiet periods. Then the cycle begins again. Each generation learns the drill, and each generation faces the same impossible choice between economic survival and physical safety. As of January 2026, exactly 3,476 people remain displaced. Monitoring continues 24 hours a day. The volcano shows no indication of decreasing activity. Ground deformation measurements confirm sustained magma pressure building beneath the surface. Pyroclastic density currents continue at rates that alarm scientists who have studied Mayon for decades. The mountain is not finished demonstrating its power. 100 pyroclastic density currents in 24 hours remain the documented reality. Ground deformation measurements confirm magma pressure building steadily beneath the surface. Alert Level 3 stays in effect, maintaining its classification of high probability of hazardous eruption. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology monitors every tremor, every gas emission, every millimeter of ground movement through sophisticated instruments operating continuously. Evacuees wait in shelters, uncertain when returning home becomes safe. Scientists track patterns and recognize dangerous trends, knowing prediction of the exact collapse moment remains imperfect. Their lives are suspended in evacuation centers, while the mountain they call home continues inflating from magma pressure that has built since June 2024. Each rockfall event, each pyroclastic flow, each measurement of ground deformation adds another data point to patterns scientists recognize but cannot control. The lava dome continues growing at the summit, accumulating more unstable material with each passing day. When it collapses, whether gradually over months or catastrophically within minutes, depends entirely on forces operating kilometers beneath the surface. Emergency coordination networks remain activated. Military personnel stay positioned. Evacuation shelters maintain capacity for extended occupation. The 6-kilometer danger zone stays empty, enforced by authorities who understand what historical precedent teaches about Mayon's reach. The central question hangs unresolved over Albay Province. Will Mayon's lava dome collapse catastrophically in a single devastating failure? Or will slow extrusion continue for months as it did in 2023? Nobody knows. The volcano operates on its own timeline, indifferent to human schedules and emergency planning. Above the northeastern Philippines, the perfect silhouette of Mount Mayon glows red against the night sky. Beautiful, deadly, inevitable.